in a well. This is gonna be a good live. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back into another hour of power. This is going to be a good live. I am stoked and excited to present a watch brand to you guys as an unboxing. It is actually gonna be a true unboxing, right? I didn't even open the tape yet. I took off all of the, I think I marked off all the personal information. I hope I did. But by the end of this live, the purpose of it is for you guys to recognize this symbol. Hopefully that is the goal, and that is what we're going to achieve today. On the other hand, we also have 10 watches that I'm going to show you guys. I was thinking that it's the end of the year. Let's talk about some affordable watch categories, some things that are relatable to many enthusiasts, whether you're a well-rounded collector for many years, whether you're entering into the game. I actually brought with me my Casios, my G-Shocks, everything of the like that is going to be on the affordable range. I wanted to include people who are new collectors to this community. I don't want to leave you guys out. I know we get a little nerdy talking about movements, and we're also going to present Markwell watches. I got my notes up there in case you see my eyes shift. I tell you guys everything. But good morning, good morning. And what's on the wrist? We're double wristing. Yes, yes. And I purposely wore this Mark Time, not to be confused with the Markwell watches that we will be presenting, guys. I often show you this watch. This is Mark Time. We are going to be talking about Markwell, and he might be also in the chat today. So hopefully, if he is able to come onto this live stream, he can answer some questions for you guys. I will do my best to unravel some things about the company that I've come across already. I'm super excited to do this review of this company. He reached out to me through Watch Crunch. By the way, on Watch Crunch, he is John Lilly. One word, John Lilly on Watch Crunch. Super cool guy. I actually was just having a conversation with him this morning, very responsive. So if you guys have any questions about the watch that we are going to unpack today, feel free to reach out to him directly, which is why I love independent brands so much, because we can interact with the owners. We can find out what the inspirations are. We can get hands-on. They send watches out to creators. Let's go, baby! Good morning, Oscar. Good morning, Michael. Good morning, everybody in the chat. I think I saw Vincent H is in the building. What's up, brother, man? I appreciate you guys for spending another hour of power with me. John Lilly is in the chat. He says, howdy, I'm awake now. He was actually sipping on some coffee by a fire pit. Really cool shot. Thank you for sending me that before this live. It got me fired up. So let's get into it. First of all, on wrist. And guys, I'm going to wait 10 minutes in to do the unboxing because I want people to sprinkle in. I want them to also not miss out. I did start a couple minutes early, so it's not fair. Let's be fair. So what I want to show you guys first is this G-Shock modification that I did. I showed you guys the unboxing of this kit. It is now on the watch itself. We all know this watch. We all love this watch. Super tactical now, titanium. And I went with the black PVD version because of a lot of my modifications. You'll see one here today. We have a bunch of watches that are already stainless steel. So I wanted something a little different. Now, on AliExpress is the only place that I could find a kit of this nature. This is, of course, this kit is homaging a much more expensive G-Shock. This is the what? This is the DW5600. You should know this, Skylar. Yeah. And this is the most affordable one, right? This is the one that's battery powered. So putting this case on it. Now, the kit itself is the same price as the watch. So you have to be super nerdy to do some kind of modification like this. As you guys know, I'm no stranger to spending more on a strap or a kit to upgrade, if you will, or play around. It's so much fun, guys. And that is what you guys are going to see with the collection that I'm going to show you. We are going to take a pause at the 10-minute mark to unpack the Markwell watch and show you guys what we're working with. So this is the first watch that I want to show you guys, titanium. Lightweight, right? I think this is 54 grams, so super lightweight. It gets on the wrist as far as it fit very, very well. Doesn't interfere with any of the buttons. The screws to this case are separate from the screws that are used on the normal watch, so you will have to swap that out. They did give me an extra screw. They did give, oh, one thing I wanted to tell you guys. So I came across something new. On this kit, on this bracelet, if you will, this titanium bracelet, the links are held together with spring bars. Each individual link in the middle of it has a spring bar. That was something new to me. I was putting the tool in and I was like, what's going on? I feel a little springiness, if you will. And that was something that was refreshingly humbling, new to me. So keep in mind that that's just the way that these links work. You might have to press on both sides. I was able to release one side, get it in an angle, push the other side in, and then it would come off. So that was something new that I wasn't used to. The only thing that I could say with that kind of setup is that because of the depth of the links itself, water can get in here, which might rust the spring bar. So I don't know how well that's going to hold up. Hopefully it does hold up pretty well. But that was that, and I'm super happy with this, man. This is super cool, super tactical. This came off of the all white casing that I had on it. It was more for me like a summer vibe. I could get away with it in the winter because it's all white. It looks pretty cool, especially if it's snowing. But I wanted something tactical for the winter. Let me see who else is in the chat. Pack, what's going on? Michael, I already said good morning, but you're worth saying good morning to twice. Casio 5610 is needing a new strap. Yeah, so thank you, Michael. Michael's on point, man. He keeps me on point. The only thing that I could say with this as well, as you guys can see, it's male end links, which is not uncommon for the G-Shock. Just note that it does have a nice angle to it. So I have a 7¼ inch wrist, so it does hug pretty nicely on the wrist. But if you have a smaller wrist, that might be an issue. And because it's metal, obviously it's going to be less of a give than it would be for what comes with it. So that's the only caveat. Aside from those links being put together, again, I don't know how well they're going to hold up. I may be completely wrong. They may hold up very well. And on the other wrist, as you guys already know, this is mark time. I like to show the watches, guys. So that's the reason why, you know, a free watch is a free watch, but I don't just put my free watch after the review into the drawer. I wear the watches. I like to continue to showcase them. As you guys know, this channel is heavily focused on independent and micro brands. I love unearthing the inspirations that they give. I love showcasing them. I'm a big avid supporter of them. So that's my thing. Now, the Markwell time is only being borrowed. And after releasing that video where I spoke about gifts and being paid for reviews, he hit me up and said, hey, saw your review, saw that you're willing. And yes, listen, I am happy with just borrowing watches. The only caveat to that is that if I do keep a watch, and maybe some of you think I'm just trying to convince him on here, maybe I am. The only reason why I like to keep a watch is I continue to showcase the watches to the community. I continue to talk about it. We will be doing eventually a one-on-one with me and Travis. If you guys don't know, we do a watch battle where you present independent brands and you get judged by your knowledge of the watch, the inspiration behind it, and just the timepiece overall. There's actually a judge panel that he puts together. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. And we go head to head with that. So I'm in love with micro brands and independent brands. They're definitely going to be in the collection and be the focus moving forward. I have a Casio DW600C. Okay, so the DW600C, I believe, is the original. Was looking for the bezel, but unable to, as well as lucky enough, I found a Casio group on Facebook that had a guy that had a Casio and found that bezel 3D printed. That's super cool, Oscar. That's super cool, because that's one of the hardest things is to get the replacement for something that old, right? And I believe that C indicates the original, if I'm not mistaken. So you had other options too. I'm pretty sure you could have done like a Frankenstein, but because it is an older watch, you want to keep it to its originality as much as possible. And I get that. That's the swing with kind of vintage watches. And that is on par with what we're talking about today with the watch that I'm going to be unboxing. DK is in the building, checking in. What's good, all you degenerates? DK is in the building. Hide your watches because he is a slippery slope. Where do I go from here? Oh, by the way, I have this on a Montreux strap. You guys know the deal, Montreux, baby. I was thinking about something funny, by the way, because we know how JP feels about it, respectfully, but I was thinking about putting a Montreux strap on his watch. I'll probably do that just for fun. Where are we right now? We're at 9 minutes and 35 seconds, so we are going to unbox this now, and then I will show you guys the rest of the Casios and G-Shocks that I brought with me today. John Lilly, which is one of the co-founders of these watches, Markwell watches, is in the chat. So I have my notes, but if you guys have any other technical questions, feel free. Feel free to ask my man. Very, very kind gentleman, I must say. So let's get the box cutter. Let's open her up. I've got some tinted windows so I don't look too crazy. So guys, I want you guys to take note of this. We are going to talk about the company's logo as well as part of the first impressions deep dive, if you will, because we still have to do some homework. Okay, we got a return label. That's for me. So just to prove to you guys, I'll show you the back of it. I got a return label. So this is a borrowed watch, which is lovely because it still gives me access to the watches to present to you guys. We have some stickers in here, right? Company logo. Mark, what does it say? Make your mark. Markwell. And that's the slogan of the company, right? Much like how I told you the slogan of Mark Time, Markwell also has a play on with the company name, meaning Mark Time, make sure you do good work, make sure you do work that you're proud of, make sure you are excelling in what you're doing. Be mindful of the work that you do, Markwell. All right, so we have some bubble wrap in here for extra security. We have some nice branded packaging. Very nice branding. Let's open her up. Ooh, very nice. So guys, this watch is coming the same way that it goes out to consumers. The only thing that's missing, I believe he told me, was the warranty card, which makes sense because I'm not going to have it for the, I believe it's a 2-year warranty. Hold on, let me check my notes to keep me on point. 2-year warranty, $100 plus equals free standard shipping in the US, in case you're interested to know. The company, Markwell Watch Company, this one that I'm unraveling is going to be the Datematic. They are a company out of Salt Lake, Utah. Very nice roll, I would have to say. Something a little different than what I'm used to. Branding on here, of course. Skylar, shut up and open the watch already. Stop it. Stop it. Very, very nice. So let's see. Now, this is the first time I'm opening it up, guys. So if there's no watch in here, I showed you guys that it was taped closed. So, you know, it's all fair game. We might have to switch gears. Extra strap for me to play along with. This is not the one that comes with it. His straps are $25 on his website. I'm getting the first impression of it. I know I gotta do it. Okay. It was probably on his wrist. I gotta smell the leather. Supple. Very, very supple. I'll tell you that right now. Very, very supple. Did he say meow? Excuse me. A little bit of curviness on this. Oh, you're getting pluses for this. You're getting bonus points for the curved ends. I talk about this specifically with micro brands. Please curve them if you can, if it makes sense. If you have longer lugs, sometimes they're shorter, so it doesn't matter. And we have some quick release action on this very strap-o-matic 20mm strap. It looks like it has a very slight taper in it. Very, very nice. Very well done. I'll tell you guys right now, the stitching matches the color. That's also bonus points. Nothing is fraying. Super clean strap. Love it. And then we have some engraving on the hardware itself. So very impressed with that already. Now, are we going to get to the watch yet? Nope. We have, what is this called? A microfiber, if you will. Branding. Hello. Now, this is more of a nod. I've seen these markings on his first watch. What was the name of the first watch? Remember You Must Die. What's the name for that? You guys probably know in the chat. Somebody help me out. But I do also have a link, guys, if you want to follow along on this live. I do that often. I click a link, the screen goes small, and that's if you have the YouTube plus, I guess, on that. But here we have the timepiece. And you guys are actually seeing my first impressions of this. Now, I have seen this on a couple reviews. And in person, I have to say that I am even more so impressed. Very, very nice timepiece, guys. I really do like this. And I talk about watches of this caliber very often. Yeah, that vintage-inspired design. We love the fact that it has modern technology in it, of course. And that is what really tickles my fancy, because what happens is I love this case shape, by the way. And if you go for an actual vintage watch that has this case shape, and we've seen this case shape in a lot of vintage watches, this is not something new per se, but the problem is that those watches at the time were more popular in a 33 to maybe 34, 35-ish, you know, and that is my biggest gripe because I want to wear a vintage inspired design, but I have a 7.25 inch wrist. So I do want to fill my wrist up a little bit. I still want the watch to appear smaller, right? A more modern day sizing is more like a 40 millimeter, maybe a 38, you know, to fit on more wrist of the like. But very, very nice. Now we do have some plastic on the back, so let's peel that sucker off and take a look at the case back. So very, very nice. Screwed in, right? Not with screws, screwed into the case itself. We have obviously some engravings of some specifications, engravings for the brand logo. Very, very nice. So let's take a look at my notes here so I don't get too off topic here. So the inspiration behind this, guys, he wanted to replicate the idea for an everyday, everyone wristwatch, right? Think back when our grandfathers used to have that one watch. Maybe they had two, maybe they had three. It's not like how it is now with us enthusiasts that have 50 plus watches. They had one watch that they put on their wrist, and they wore that when they cut the grass. They wore that when they changed the car oil. They wore it for virtually everything. So at the end of the day, this new GATA term was different back in the day. And I love that. It's on theme with that. These are watches that you would have saw on your grandfather's wrist all day long. Again, maybe he had another watch that he traded off, but for the most part, this was what they kind of, the style that they wore, right? So the play on name of Markwell is the daily companion strapped to your wrist, like you would when you mark life, when you do the day-to-day, when you're coming up as a young person and building your career and doing everything else and the like. So again, they sent me this watch just how they would with their consumers. I mentioned that. The only difference is the warranty card that was missing. It includes this strap, right? Which again, super supple, man. Let's put it on wrist, as a matter of fact. I have a 7.25 inch wrist for reference. I'm gonna tell you guys my impressions of the dial and everything else. I just want to show you guys a wrist shot officially. Yeah, this leather is ready to go. Ready to go. And you guys know what I'm talking about. Those leather straps that you have to break in when you put it on wrist right out of the box. It's wonky, it doesn't sit well, but take a look at that. Nice and curved, molded to my wrist already, straight out the box. We have an engraved crown there. We'll speak about that as well. But this is my 7.25 inch wrist, and this is a lovely size. Could I, you know what? Maybe a little bit smaller even I could go with, but definitely on theme and on, we're never happy. We're never happy. I just said how I want it to be bigger, but this is perfect, right? From lug to lug. This is perfect on wrist. Let's talk about the specifications. So we got a 37 millimeter diameter, 43 millimeters from lug to lug, 10.35 millimeters of thickness. So you were sub 10.5 on this. Beautiful, right? Very dressy, under the cuff, no problem. 20 millimeter lug for the strap. As I already said, it's a strap monster. You can put whatever you want on it, but you're going to be very, very happy with this strap, I think. Okay. Very, very nice. Sapphire crystal and 100 meters of water resistance. More than you need on a dress watch, in my opinion. And this is going to be powered by a Salida 200-1. We got to say the -1 because we know how the date wheel, the date function on the 200 was an issue. And now here's the deal. This is what I love. And this is, you guys know, this was not even planned. I'll be honest with you. Excuse me. I talk about regulation a lot, and we mostly talk about regulation for an NH35 or a Japanese movement of the like. This is a Swiss movement, as you guys know, the SW. Regulated, okay? They put the attention to a movement that is already pretty accurate, and it's going to be regulated to +6, -4 average a day. I love that. I love the fact that this feels like it comes from an enthusiast, because only a nerd would say, you know what, I'm going to take a movement that is already well refined and I'm going to tweak it a little bit more. And it's funny because I mentioned that in my last review of Erebus. Of course, when I put it on a time grapher, I mentioned, hey, I have no problem with, you know, any Japanese movement NH movements, Miota movements, of the like. I think that they should be regulated. I said that on my Erebus review. And sure enough, that movement was running perfectly. So maybe I got lucky, but I always like to add that in. The movement is going to be regulated on this. I gave you guys the dimension. It is awesome, and it does fit very well. Let me catch up on chat, make sure I didn't miss anything too crazy. Okay, you guys are talking amongst yourselves. John is a 7.5, 7.25 as well. It is, yes, it is automatic, absolutely, for sure. So, this strap that it comes with is the Whiskey Brown strap. Each strap is supplied with each watch is supplied with a 20 millimeter soft leather strap. Okay, signed pin buckle, said that, $25 for other options. Already got that too. So the crown, let's show that. The crown is signed with the company logo. Here you go, right? Not only is it signed, so you're saying to yourself, Skylar, what's that white? That is Loom. He actually featured Loom on here, okay? And I want to give you guys my impression of the dial. So we have applying indices. We have a date wheel aperture at the 3 o'clock. Now this date wheel aperture is a little different from what I'm used to seeing in that, let me just move the hands around so I could show you guys a good shot. It's a larger than usual date aperture, and it actually showcases the day before and the day after on it. It is a roulette style date wheel, right? So you're gonna have offset number colors in it. And I like the cutout for it, right? A little different. It gives it a little bit of a case design language to the applied indices that are on here as well. Two-tone, very nice in the center. I love the color of green that they used, and I love that they used these kind of like crosshairs on there as well. I think that that's very bold whenever I see somebody do that, because that means you have to make sure that everything is aligned. So seeing this in person, I am even more impressed. I think that there are more Easter eggs to the date wheel. Let me just let me change the date wheel at the proper time, huh? So we don't damage the movement when we first got it. Let's do that. So the date just turned around. I like to put it at 6 a.m. even after the fact because I'm paranoid. I like to create that habit because when you have a date, the date or the day, one of the two, changes even after a certain time, right? So I'm changing it now at 6 a.m. and I'm gonna go through it. I think there's another Easter egg in here if I'm not mistaken. So we have white and gold play on from the dial itself. I just saw it and I went past it. The 13's a little different. Now, John, you're in the chat. Let us know why the 13 is different. I know that there was a specific reason. I think it had to do with something of the Mason field and background. But let me show you guys what I'm talking about. The 13 on here is a different color, is a little different. I don't know if I could catch that with the glare ski. It's a little darker. So there is something to note with that. For sure. Definitely a crocodile strap. Okay. Yeah. All right, so let's go back to the notes. So the case design has the DNA architecture of American watch from the mid-20th century, right? That's obvious that it gives us a very vintage type of vibe, a very vintage type of feel. So the logo for the company, right? I want you guys to get familiar with the logo. Again, in the description, I have a link to the website so you guys can check it out and see some details on your end in case it's not coming through. But the logo was actually designed off of Casium, right? The atomic clocks used to run off of this, what do we call it? It's a radioactive property, right? And he was watching YouTube videos. He saw that symbol for that Casium, and he actually rotated it. I think he rotated it 180 degrees, he said. Yes, 180 degrees. And that is where he came up with the logo. Now, the crown is actually loomed with that logo. And at night, it gives off the glow, obviously. And that gives you the radioactive feel. Now, that was by mistake, I believe he said. I think his daughter mentioned that it's a radioactive property, so it's on theme. But it's still really cool. It's something that we don't often see. And party trick, right? Party trick, but it's still nice to have. It's still very nice to have. We have luminescent material on the hands itself. If I had to guess, I want to say this is BGW9 on the hands. And listen, Do you need lume on a watch that is a dress watch? You don't. Is it nice to have it on there? Yeah, why not? Does it have to be super powerful? No. It lasting through the night would be nice, right? So, John, you're in the chat. Let me know if that's correct. I'm guessing this is BGW9. I don't think I saw anything on the website, or at least maybe I missed it, but there is lume on the hands. The second hand, right? The second hand is what really makes me tickles my fancy, if you will. I love a second hand that goes all the way out to the edge of the dial. This is what it does. It has an arrow tip on there. It is green to stay on theme with the dial colorway here. So I absolutely love it, man. And it gives me minimalistic vibes for sure, because we don't have the minute markers. But at the very end of the 6, it does say Swiss made at the bottom here. I know it's hard to see. But I love the language design overall, man. It definitely hits home for that vintage inspiration. I love the fact that it has more of the up-to-date movement inside, right? We're taking the technology of now and putting it into the vintage-inspired stuff. So super cool watch, man. And I will be having fun wristing this for the moment that I have it. We will be doing a deep dive review on this as well, of course. So we are marking well, and we're marking time. There you go, the collab. And I also have, again, I have a green strap to match nicely with that dial. So I am going to be swapping that out. I'll show that in the review, the deep dive review that we're going to do. I just want to present the watch to you as I unbox it. I figured, why keep it all to myself? The excitement that I have for unboxing watches, share it with the people. So that is that. We will be looking further into it. Let me catch up on Chatski. I think the price, Oscar, is floating around the $800 range. If he is still in the chat, maybe he can put the exact. I also have, Oscar, a link in the description if you want to just hit that real quick to check that out. So, a crocodile strap would be awesome for it, for sure. Again, it's a 20 millimeters, so my business partner and I are threesomes. And watches of 11 and 13 are different colors. Okay, so the 11 and the 13 are different colors. That's awesome. Alan and I held office with the... Awesome, awesome. Happy holidays, Ripsaw Joe. Haven't seen you in a little while in the chat. Happy holidays, my good friend. $729. Okay, $729, Oscar. That's the price for it. So there we go. And yeah, man, we will be taking a look at this watch. I can tell you guys right now, this Datematic is going to be, it's gonna be tough to send back, man. I might have to send my man an email to send me an invoice. I don't know. Because look, I've shown you guys a lot of vintage inspiration, more so in the aspects of affordable watches, right? More affordably made, like the, what is it called? The Spinnaker. The Spinnaker that I just shown too. This is a completely different animal, right? That was more of a Blancpain type of thing. But if you want to step away, now obviously this is going to draw inspiration. There are watches that he saw in that era that obviously he gained inspiration, but it definitely separates itself way more enough to not call it a clomage, right? And that's what I've showcased to you guys prior, is more of a clomage type of feel. Nothing wrong with that as well. But I love the fact that now I got to wrist a independent brand that is doing more of a homage of the like. So what are we talking about now? Spinnaker looks a toy. Looks like a toy? It does. It does. They're all toys, baby. Let's show some more G-Shocks, guys. Let's show some more G-Shocks. Let's start off with the most affordable. We're gonna run through these, I think, for the first couple of ones, because you guys have seen a lot of these, but I wanted to include them. So I wanted to talk about the squares that I have, Casio, G-Shock of the like, affordable range, F91 dubs. You guys are already familiar with this bad boy. You guys know that I modified it. I put a Vario leather strap on here. Super, super affordable if you're looking to get into watches and you want something that is well known within the community, has a history, is kind of a titan for its cost and its value itself. That's a great way to start. I, of course, have the metal. I always have the metal. I paid more for the strap than the watch cost itself. You guys know I modified the screen to a polarized negative film. And I love this watch. It's a birth year watch for me. And Shout out to Teddy Baltazar for putting up the Citizen watch today, man. That also is an 89 watch. You guys are messing me up. You guys are making me want to buy too many watches. Next up, now, if that watch is in fact too small, and I don't feel personally, I got over the too small kind of feel. This was okay for me. I usually double wrist this. This actually took the spot of my Apple Watch, which has been sitting in the case for over a year now. Haven't charged it. This was the Apple Watch replacement officially, but shout out to Apple Watch for getting me used to having something on wrist. Next up, I don't even remember the model of this. I'll be I'll be honest with you, but I was interested to put this in my collection because, as you guys know, this is rated, I think, for 30 meters or something like that. It's not really, you don't want to take that diving, right? There's some people that say it's lasted longer than that, it's lasted deeper like that. But this is 50 meters, and this one's listed. The other one, the F91W, as you guys know, is just rated for splash, right? So we can't feel too confident going into the water. But this guy, and let me read the model. This is the W218. Yes. So if you want something larger, if you want something that is more water resistant, this is the guy to go to. I have not done anything to this one. This one is still in its stock form. I might do something down the line. I might do something with a polarization. I don't know. I don't know. But very familiar vibes, right? It gives you that kind of G-Shock square, you know, that we're all familiar with basic functions on that. The backlight to this, I think, is okay. It's definitely better than the F91W that you guys are notorious. What's nice about it is it stays lit, I believe, so long as you hold that button, and then when you release it, it comes off right away. So that's another feature within this watch that's a little different. This, I would say, is an upgrade if you wanted to fill your wrist a little bit more. Not as prevalent with different swap outs for it, but still very nice. Still does what it has to do. Poor man's G-Shock. Jesus. Savagery today, sir. Savagery, I guess. Moving on from that, we of course have the two brothers, the AE12, AE1300 that I modified. Of course, I've shown these before. This one I've shown, I think I shown this one. Yeah, we did this recently on a live. So you guys are familiar with this and the inspiration. And then I have this guy here that I showed less. This is from, both are from Do It Yourself Watch Club as far as the casings are concerned. This comes with a silicone strap, very supple, very nice. I wanted something with the gold tone to, like, the, you know, those gold tone Casios that come up, but they were a little too small, so I figured let me modify the AE. This is the AE 1200. I believe this is, yeah, this is the AE 1200. This is the AE 1300. So I decided to do my own and build my own case design with it. I think with the black, it looks fantastic. I did a negative polarization to this as well. I have videos on how I do that in case you guys are wondering. I did the F91W video. This one was very easy comparably, but they're very similar on modifying the polarization to it, okay? And what makes this really cool is the actual second hand on here. Let me see if I can get it to show. Is actually a positive. There we go. You kind of can see it right there. So I thought that gave it more of like a tactical feel. I actually did a little bit of a colored film in here, and I did the rest of it blacked out. So super cool. Super affordable watches too if you get it in its standard form. We're talking about $20 to $30 for these watches. So we're at, I think this is at 15. The other one is around the same price, I believe. And then these are like $20. So if you're starting to get into your collection and you want to have something that you could put into your collection that's really fun, because at the end of the day, you could get them stock, wear them stock for a while, you know, but just know that there are many options, especially with these AE12 and 1300s. I believe there's also a 1600. There's a lot of options that you can have a lot of fun personalizing a watch that's super popular, because that's the only thing that's going to stand out, right? A lot of people own these watches, so if you want them to stand out a little bit more, if you want to have fun with your watches that are okay, so the cases are not affordable, right? The cases are much more expensive than the unit itself, but that doesn't mean down the line you could do something else, or you could just do a strap change. You don't have to do the full case and everything else. So can you somehow put an anti-reflective film on the mineral on these? I've never looked into that, putting an anti-reflective film on there, that's a great question. I'm not sure if you can get into applying anti-reflective coating on the back of these cases itself, right? Because the cases have their own crystals. I'm not entirely sure if the crystals themselves have AR coating, to be honest with you, from Do It Yourself Watch Club, but I'm not sure if you can apply that. That's a great question, and it's something that I will look into moving forward if I can put some more anti-reflective coating on them. That's actually interesting. So, the next watch, the King of G-Shock. So, I got bamboozled. I'm watching Jory Goodman early on, the time teller. So if you guys want to clip this part, Jory Goodman, you ruined me with this watch. I had to get it after seeing him do his review of it. It is bigger than what I'm used to. It doesn't get as much wrist time. It is still lightweight. Now the King G-Shock has a negative film already from factory, okay? And I didn't do anything as far as modifying that much. Everything is originally stock. The only thing I did modify is I put these attachments here so I could put a NATO strap on there. If you see his watch, you'll actually see it in the same fashion. So total watch enthusiast, just watching YouTube way before I decided to come on here and talk watches myself. The time teller watch is what I call this. But you know what? It's one of those watches where I'm like, it's too big for me now. I don't really wear wrist watches this size. Then I put it on and I kind of like it. I go back and forth. It's going to stay in the collection for 2025. In fact, all of these watches are going to stay in the collection. This one is a little bit more money. I believe this one's like 100 and change, or just on the button of $100. I can go in here and change this to a positive display, change it to red, do some modifications to it, but there's a lot more components to this, so that is a big difference. Yeah, I've watched videos of people do it. It looks phenomenal when they did do it, but going from an AE 1200, right, to doing a modification for this, there are way more components inside here, because this, I believe, is 200 meters of water resistance. It's solar powered. It is more entailed. It requires more work. Now, I can say this. This sits in a watch box, not by a window, kind of close to it, but not direct sunlight for sure. And it still has high battery on this solar powered energy on here. This captures light very, very well, stays charged very, very well. And I'm saying that on purpose because I got another watch that I'm going to show you guys that is not as good as doing that. And I don't understand why. Maybe you guys can enlighten me, if you will. But I like the watch, man. Super tactical. I have a 7¼ inch wrist, so I can get away with that watch. But, you know, it's just if you're in the mood for a big watch like that, and it is still, like I said, relatively speaking, it's still lightweight, so it's not too much of an issue. Now, this guy, you guys are all going to recognize. Of course, I have it in a modded case. Now, this case came from AliExpress. This was not Do It Yourself Watch Club. This was not a big, name like that. This was just an AliExpress special. Now, here's my qualms with this watch, right? This is the GA, this is the GAB, this is the Bluetooth version, right? Which is very convenient because you can synchronize your phone with it and you can change the times, change the alarm settings, everything of the like. So it's worth going with the Bluetooth version of this. This is a super popular watch. You guys all know it. It does have a lot of modding capabilities, right? So we are going to get the analog, we are going to get the digital display on here. You can change out the hands, you can change out the dial. There's a bunch of things that you can do with this. It is a little harder, it being not a mechanical, a quartz watch. So I did mess around with the watch with this in the past and it didn't go so well. So just a heads up on that. What's nice about it is you can just purchase a case and a strap just to change it out. There's a whole bunch of different iterations to this case design to make it more look like an AP. Different colorways. It does give it more robustness when you do so. So keep that in mind if you have a smaller wrist. The watch, when it comes originally, is a little bit on the smaller size. I've contemplated putting it back to its original case because of that. So one of the things about this, it is solar, and my issue with it is it took forever to charge this, and it sits in a watch case very close to the King G-Shock, right? I'll show that as well. It sits very close. These are both solar powered. The problem I found with this is that it dies in the case, even though it sits on the top of the case. That's a see-through glass and everything else. Now, I don't know if that's happening because of the case that I put on here. I don't know if you guys experienced that. Check your watch at home if you have this watch. But I realized the issue with this when I had to do an update for the app. The watch had to be at a certain power, and I was like, okay, let me take it out of the case, let me put it in sunlight, right? And it took almost a week to get this charged to high, and it wouldn't update unless it was on its full charge. And it wouldn't update if it was cold. I even left it in the truck. I was putting it on the dashboard. I wanted to see if I could charge it up while I was on the road. The watch got cold from leaving it in the truck. I went to go do the update. It said the watch is too cold. I was like, they're watching me. You know what I mean? But I don't know if that's because of the case that I put on here. To be honest with you, I can't remember if this is utilizing the crystal that came with it factory. I got to do some more research on this. But what I can say is that these solar panels on here receiving that power is weaker. That's the only thing that I can give you guys as a kind of a negative. But I realized this, and it was a little annoying to have to charge it for a full week. You know, it wasn't in direct sunlight the whole entire day when the sun rises, but still, you know what I mean? You would still expect it to be a little bit more sensitive, a little bit more keen to drawing in that power, like this King G-Shock that sits in the case right next to it, and it's right now on high power, right? So that was my thing, and we'll see. Maybe I put this back to factory. I don't know. What else do I got for you guys? I had 10 watches that I wanted to show you. Those were the G-Shocks. Let me catch up on chat, actually. I'm sorry. I apologize. Chunky Monkey for sure. Yes, that watch is a Chunky Monkey. Do you eco drive? Yes, I eco drive on my Citizen Blue Angels. My Citizen Blue Angels has an eco drive, and it is lovely. I love that watch. Matter of fact, I've been taking a look at it, and I wanted to risk that watch a little bit more, so I definitely will showcase that watch to you guys. I love the 90s Omega Seamaster 120. You know, it's called the Aquaterra Fire. Almost all G-Shocks Mega. Yeah, pretty much. That's what I'm showing. Okay. I think I caught up. Uh-oh, John's on sleep mode. Oh, maybe. Oh, he's saying maybe the watch is on sleep mode. I don't think so. It does have that function where it does power down, right? A lot of those solar power watches have that function where if it's not, maybe you're right. Maybe after I charged it to full, it kind of like was saying, okay, we're getting plenty of charge. I got to look into that as well. Thank you so much for that insight, sir. What else do I have with me? I just so happen to have this watch. This is a Mark Time watch roll. I stole that from him, by the way. I asked him, I said, hey, can I keep the watch roll? He said, sure, buddy. So see, I still showcase it. I still utilize it. I have the Zezimi watch on me. This is kind of random. Still a square, but this is definitely not the likes of the G-Shock. This is an automatic. Now, I gave this watch to my brother, but Skylar, you just told me that you keep the watches. What are you talking about? Well, Zezimi sent me 2 renditions of this. I often told you guys that the best way to trim down the collection is to give the watches to a loved ones in case you want to borrow that watch back and you have regrets. And that's something that I did because I had 2 of these watches on me, and I decided to give him this nice PVD coated one. This is a GMT watch. I had to resize the bracelet for him, but I just so happen to have it. It's getting musky and weird in this car as I scream and yell and shout and don't have the car on. But this is another watch that I'm actually going to be giving to him momentarily as we sign off here. And I think that was everything. I think that was all the watches. How are you guys feeling about the G-Shocks? I know a lot of you probably have a bunch of those in your collection already. I want to know if you guys meddle with modifying them. Is that something that you guys do? Is that something that you guys like to go after when you have these watches? Because for me, that is super attractive to me. I don't like to do that with every watch. I won't be modifying your watch, John. Don't worry. Calm down. But when I get G-Shocks, when I get affordable watches, even my Casio Duro, I changed out the bezel insert to that. I changed out the bracelet to a Jubilee style bracelet. So that's something that I also like to meddle with. I didn't bring that with me today because that's technically not a square and it's a little off theme, but I wanted to show you guys some affordable options. Oh man, love it. This Markwell watch, man. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it really hits home with that vintage inspiration. Again, I love. Let me take it off wrist. I love that second hand going all the way out to the middle, all the way out to the edge of the dial. That's super super cool. Minimalistic, yeah. I think I said that. We're not gonna have the minute markers on here, and I'm no stranger to that kind of design, right? Unless I'm missing some kind of detail here. Again, this is the first time me seeing it. The outer side of that silver is brushed. We have a matte green on the center here. But I love the applied indices that he put. Definitely something different in the shapes. You know, you don't often see shapes like this, so very, very nice. But that second hand is absolutely lovely. Absolutely lovely. So I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. Thank you so much, John, for sending me this over. We will do a deep dive review of the B-roll and everything alike. And, you know, I was kind of contemplating, not for this one and probably not anytime soon. Let me know what you guys think. I was thinking of doing a live review, a live deep dive review on a watch itself. Now, what I would want to do is probably just record myself and then play it back and put a little bit of editing on it. So it's not going to necessarily be a true live. But how would you guys feel of more of a rant style, more of a raw unediting? Of course, I'll include some B-roll so you can get the close-ups on the shot. When you're trying to show this on a live like this, you don't get the finer details as you would on an actual recording of a review. But I'm dancing with the idea. I might play with it. I might do it with one of the watches that I own instead, and just see how the crowd reacts to that. Let's take a look at the chat. I want to get a smart G-Shock. I mean, I guess that would be this, no? Like being able to have that Bluetooth, being able to connect to it. I don't know if you mean like track steps and stuff like that. That's a little different, but raw and edited, give it a shot. Nothing ventured. Yeah, fair enough, Mega. Yeah, I might give that a shot. It's just to see how that comes out, man, because I feel like a lot of people watching the reviews are craving maybe something a little different. And I think that if it's just me talking candidly, of course I'll have my notes. You have to report the news correctly. But if I'm just talking candidly and it gives even more of a live review, you know, a lot of people do their reviews where they're talking and then they put the B-roll in there. So that kind of already gives you that kind of feel. But for like an actual live vibe, I think is a little different. Excuse me. Let me know if there's any questions and concerns about the watch at hand, because we have the owner in the chat. This is a good time to ask those technical questions. I believe I gave you guys. So now I have a YouTube video that I want you guys to check out at the end of this live if you have time. And the video that I'm talking about, as I play it in the background, so I expose myself, Bruce William. Bruce William did a fantastic interview with the co-brand owners, and they were actually looking at a different watch that they came out with. I believe it was the first watch that they had. I don't know if you guys seen it before. It was about 10 months ago. So if you have, maybe it's worth a refresh after seeing this live. Of course, I have my deep dive review that I'm doing of this watch in particular as well. But check out Bruce Williams. I believe I left the link of that review that I'm talking about in the description below. So you guys can kind of see an interview style with it. And I actually connected with that review because Bruce Williams gave us the information of being friends with the brand owner ahead of time, having a relationship with them. I thought that was really nice, a really nice touch, really cool. You guys seen my review of Noctua watches, so I'm no stranger of talking about a friendship with a brand owner, right? And I was friends with JP, Noctua Watch Plug, before he decided to do it, man. And when he started telling me that he was even interested, I'm like, dude, do it, and do it now. If you have something inside of you calling you to make a watch and to come up with a watch brand, you know that that's no easy feat. But if you have that inside of you and you want to do that, that's an absolute thing that you have to do, because you're going to look back and say, what if? And there's nothing worse than having that kind of feeling. So yeah, Bruce Williams, check out that review. Bruce is a good friend of his, as he confirms here on the chat. And I thought that was a very nice interview that they had with them to get a better understanding of, I did the best that I could to give you guys that kind of feel from it. A lot of my notes came from that video. Again, they were showcasing a different watch, but as far as getting a feel for the brand, which is most important with independent brands and micro brands, as we talked about before in the past, they're worth the time, in my opinion, because you're able to see the passion, you're able to see the story, you're able to interact with the brand owners. And again, if you missed it in the beginning, John, one of the co-owners, John Lilly, is in the chat, and he's on Watch Crunch, right? So if you guys have any questions for all my people on the replay, I know there's hundreds of you that are going to be tuning in. Give him a shout. If you don't have a Watch Crunch account, make one today. You're cheating yourself out if you're a watch enthusiast and you don't have that. And give him a bell. His name on there is John Lilly, and he's a fantastic guy. So let's see what the chat's talking about. Ron and Oscar, ask Skylar about the smart disc for any watch. Oh, okay. Yeah, so there's a brand. Oh man, I can't remember the brand name. I'm terrible. Learning Professional is my name for a reason. There's a brand out there that actually that's actually, I should have thought of that connection. There's a brand that creates a thin disc that goes underneath any watch that you put on wrist to give you smartwatch features. Yeah. So they're actually having suction cups that go to the back of your watch. It is a program that's on your phone. It tracks your steps. You can interact with music, skipping it. You just tap the top of your watch. It's integrating that smartwatch while still having a more classical watch on your wrist, an automatic watch, if you will. So that may be an option for you if you want to add that kind of smart function to your watches. So that's actually a good plug. I will put their information up after this live, guys. I apologize. It just, the name eludes me right now. I saw them at the wind-up fair too. Shame. Sony turns to smartwatch. Yes. Same case, different dial setup. Yes, the first watch, right. And I think, John, you also mentioned in that video, or maybe it was another video, that after you coming out with this case design, you reuse that for this watch, and then you're also looking to do, I think you said a field watch, a dive watch. Well, a dive watch wouldn't make sense on this case, yeah? But I think you said a field watch. Some other, I don't know if you're going to change up the case design when it comes to that, but the point is you have other things in the works. You are looking to come out with new, fresh designs. And guys, this is not a Kickstarter type of feel. No shade to anybody who does a Kickstarter kind of thing. It gives reach. There are pluses to doing a Kickstarter when a brand is first coming out, because a lot of the brands, and I've talked with this with ProTech, I've talked with this with Mark Time, they both confirmed that they've used Kickstarter for the reach. However, that is not the case with this watch company, guys. They're putting their money where their mouth is. They're paying for the units. They're selling the watches. It's no Kickstarter. There's no wait. So long as the watch is in stock, you're receiving your watch. And if you're in the US, you'll receive it pretty quickly. They are fully endorsed and behind their watches. They're really trying to put their watches on some wrists. And if you're looking for a vintage design and the vintage language done with modern technology, as I said before, then you might want to check them out and give them a look. Wristful Ignorance is in the building. What's going on, brother, man? Another watch reviewer. Maybe Wristful Ignorance, you want to take a look at this. Maybe if you talk with the owner, I could send you this to do your own review. Anybody else too, because there's a lot of other watch reviewers that watch this channel, that watch the lives. If you guys are interested in doing a review, your own rendition, let me know. Maybe John's cool with it. Of course, I'm talking out of pocket because it's not my watch. Maybe he doesn't want me to send it to somebody else. Maybe he does, but I like to keep the wheels turning, and the more exposure, the better. That is what you guys get as a value for the channel and content creators of ourselves of the like. Hopefully we shed some light on the watch brands that need to be exposed and need to be shown and are fulfilling a category that I think is very magical, right? Because I have nothing against an actual vintage watch. I think that they're beautiful. I love them. I told you guys that I have an issue with wristing some of them because of the case, especially when we talk about a case design like this, right? But another issue is knowing what you're purchasing, right? That's a whole nother category and information, and you can build a relationship with an AD, right? And hopefully, you're buying the seller, right? That's something that I always say when you're going for actual vintage watches, because you just don't know. Everything could be perfect on the outside, but the inside is a Frankenstein. You don't know when that watch was last serviced. Somebody's walking close to the car, so I'm keeping my P's and Q's on me. But the point is this, for me, when it comes to vintage, I like to get the new technology. I know that everything is brand new. I know that it has most likely a twist of more up-to-date things that we want as far as language design, not only from the movement. We are getting a Salida movement on here, a Salida 200-1. So I know that this watch is going to last me. It's a fresh watch with an old design, and it's a head nod to the watches that our grandfathers used to wear. So I love that. That's what really connects me with the watches and everything of the like. So the micro brands that focus on it, the independent brands that focus on it, special category in my heart, man. And the more of those watches that I can be exposed to and give you guys information on, the better, in my opinion. Yes, sir. Let me catch up on chat. Hold on. Make sure I said everything from my notes. Just jumped on. What is the brand name? There you go. Markwell watches. Markwell watches. Wristful Ignorance. You are on Watch Crunch. On Watch Crunch, his name is John Lilly. Hit him up. Connect the dots and everything else, and see what we can come up with that. So that's all I had, guys. We are getting to the top of the hour now. We're about 5 minutes shy. If you have any other questions, let me know. Now, this is also obviously a gold PVD. That's one thing that I didn't mention on here. And I believe he has, and I'm interested in that too. Man, you might have to send me an invoice, John. I believe he also has bracelets. You guys know those stretchy bracelets? I'm showing my age now, right? You guys know those stretchy vintage bracelets? I believe he has those in stainless steel and in gold PVD finishing. I'm interested in that as well, man. I always gravitate towards that, and especially putting it on a watch like this. Now, if you have a hairy wrist, might not be for you. I don't have too much hair on my wrist, so I'll probably get away with it, but that would have been really cool also to check out. I should have mentioned it to you, but that's okay. So he has those bracelets as well. If you really want to pair the two and really give a vintage vibe. I mean, I don't think that any of the muggles are going to know that this watch isn't a vintage watch. Anybody looking at this on the outside of the nerds are going to just say that this is a vintage watch. And I think that would add a little bit more of a head nod towards that vintage inspiration design. So I was pretty interested to see that as well. All right. Head on a swivel like a G. Absolutely, always, baby. I mean, I got tinted windows and the car's locked, but you can't put your head down for too long, man. I got these watches exposed. Gotta cover those up, you know. Twisto Flex, yes. Is one other brand. Just followed you on Watch Crunch, John. Cool. Connecting the dots. That's what I'm talking about, baby. So yeah, guys, that is all that I have here today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We went through some G-Shocks. We went through a brand new independent, well, they're not a brand new independent brand, but they're brand new to me. I implore you guys to check out their website, take a look at their watches, see if it's for you. If you want to wait for my deep dive review, I will do so. I will encourage other reviewers to also take a look at the watch and do their own version of it, because everything that I told you guys here, even from the G-Shocks as well, even from this watch, and I have the owner on here as well, don't go by just what I tell you guys. Make your own informed decision when it comes to purchasing watches. That is the most personal thing that you can do. I love the fact that you guys entrust me, and therefore you feel more comfortable maybe pulling the trigger. But do your own research, guys. Really do a deep dive in all the watches before you add it to your collection. Just because I showcase something, it doesn't mean to purchase it. But that being said, again, I might ask for an invoice for this. Who knows? And yeah, I want to inspire other reviewers to also take a look at this watch as well. So that's all I have, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys for spending an hour of power with your boy. I look forward to doing the deep dive review of this watch. Thank you so much, John. Thank you so much, Alan, for giving me this opportunity. I really do appreciate it. Your watch is in good hands. And for everybody else viewing, have a lovely rest of your day. I appreciate you guys for spending your most valuable asset, which is time. And I hopefully will see you in the next one.